Hi there. We have been looking at different types of data, how it gets collected, whether it's qualitative or quantitative, discrete or continuous. Now we are going to take a look at how that data gets presented. This has been split up into a couple of different lessons because there's so many different ways to present data. This one, we are just going to take a look at pictographs, bar graphs, and histograms because they are all very, very closely related. The best way to do these is through an example. So here we go. A study was conducted to determine how often students went to Charlie's Bistro for coffee during Dead Week. For those of you who don't know, Dead Week is typically considered to be the week before final exams, when everyone needs lots of caffeine for all of the studying they haven't done for the beginning of the semester. The results from the first 4 students questioned follow. So student 1 went 3 times, student 2 went 7 times, student 3 went 5 times, and student 4 only had to go twice. Use the data to create a pictograph of the results. So before we go and create a pictograph, we need to know what that means. So let's talk about some properties. The first important thing you need to know about a pictograph is just like it looks in the word picto, looks like picture, a pictograph uses pictures to represent data. Typically, this is the first type of graph that you create in school. You might have drawn ice cream cones in 3rd grade to represent how many students like chocolate ice cream. I don't know. The problem is we can't just use any old picture. We need to use a picture that's set up with a key. Now, we're not opening any doors with this key. A key tells you that one picture equals so many items. So instead of having to draw out 400 of the same thing, we might say that one golf ball equals 12 holes that were played. The other thing you need to know about pictographs is that you have to have labels. You have to tell people what they're looking at. So let's do it. The first thing somebody's going to want to know when they look at our pictograph is, what am I looking at? So let's call it visits to Charlie's. That's going to tell people that they are getting a look at the number of visits to Charlie's Bistro. So we have given our pictograph a title. Well, what are we looking at? We're looking at students. So I'm going to put my students over here. Let's say student 1. Student 2. Student 3. And student 4. If they had names, I'd put their names right there, but I didn't give them names. Now, the right side of our graph is going to be the number of visits, and we need to decide how we want to represent that. Our numbers are fairly small. Our biggest one is 7 visits. So since they are potentially going to get coffee, maybe we'll just draw a little coffee cup. The little to-go coffee cups. Laugh if you want to. We don't have that many. So let's just say 1 coffee cup equals 1 visit. That is our key. That tells people what they're looking at. So student 1 visited Charlie's 3 times. That means we need 3 of whatever symbol we picked. So there's 3 coffee cups, 1 for each visit. Student 2 went 7 times. Student 2 might need a caffeine support group. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 visits. Student 3 went 5 times. And student 4 only went twice. So I only need 2. That is our pictograph. And one thing that pictographs are really great at doing is letting you see your minimum and your maximum values. In a pictograph, those quantities really stand out because you get the longest piece and you get the shortest piece. So that makes it pretty easy. That is a pictograph. If you want the parts labeled, we have a title right here. We had a key. The key was what told us each picture stood for. We labeled. So we labeled the quantities we were showing. And we had symbols for our cups. All of these were the symbols that we used. So that's what a pictograph looks like. So now let's go down and see what happens when we have larger quantities of things. Dead week has happened. We're now into finals week and Charlie needs to replenish his supplies. He analyzes the coffee sales for the past week and uses the data to help guide his order. The sales for each day of the week follow. So on Monday, he sold 30 cups of coffee. Tuesday was 20, Wednesday was 15, Thursday was 40, Friday was 25. Now, the first thing that pops up into my head is, I don't want to draw 40 cups of coffee. I just don't want to do it. I have better things to do with my time. You probably do too. So I don't want to draw 1 coffee cup for every single thing that happens. So I'm going to start setting things up. We will call this coffee sales. I'm going to label my sections. So this would be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we need to come up with a way to represent multiple cups of coffee at once. It looks like all of our data values are multiples of 5. So we could do 1 cup is equal to 5 cups of coffee. That would work. Or we could even do 1 cup is equal to 10. That might be a little faster. So I am going to create a key. I lost a line somewhere. I'll put it down here on the bottom. Ooh, I don't like the way that's going to look. So we'll make a coffee cup. I'm going to spice things up a little bit and make a little fancy one. Looks more like a pitcher, but whatever. And I'm going to say one of those is 10 cups sold. Monday was 30, so I need 3 of them. Tuesday was 20, so I only need 2. Wednesday was 15, but Miss Graham, we can only draw 10. You do have an eraser, my friends. So if I want 15, I'm going to start out with 2. And I'm going to pull up my eraser. It's already set to partial. If 1 cup stands for 10, then I'm going to make this one 15 by cutting it in half. Close enough to half. So that one would be 15 cups of coffee. Thursday was 40. And Friday was 25. So here's 20. And I want half of that last one to make it 25. So there we go. We have all of the same parts. We have a key, we have symbols, we have a title, we have labels, we have all of the things. The one thing that might complicate a pictograph, as far as representations, you can still see that we have a maximum number of 40 cups. You can see which day we sold the least. But it may be harder to determine exactly what that number was if we had, say, 17 cups sold on one day. It might be hard to show that in a fraction of a cup. So that is one of the drawbacks in a pictograph. So let's say it can be difficult to accurately it might be hard to, it can be difficult to accurately represent different quantities. So if we wanted 17 cups in here, using our little picture of a cup, 17 might end up looking like 15, or it might look like it's closer to 20. So that can be a drawback for the pictograph. So let's change gears slightly to go and look at a bar graph. A bar graph is very, very much like a pictograph. In fact, we are going to use our data from our pictograph to create our bar graph. We need some of the same things. We need a title. So we'll call this one Daily Coffee Sales. The difference here is that instead of pictures, all we're going to be doing is looking at bars on a graph. So we need to label the different axes that we have. This line, this horizontal line right here across the bottom, is called the independent axis. Usually this is going to have things like time. So we'll make it days of the week since that's what we're looking at. This vertical axis, what you typically call the y-axis, is the dependent axis. This is typically where we put our frequencies. The number of times something happens. So for us, that's going to be cups of coffee sold. I want everything very, very clearly labeled. We know that our largest number of cups of coffee was 40. So we need to decide on our scales. I think that if we let each line be 5 cups, so that means this would be 10 and 20 and 30 and 40. That should be pretty good. That means down here at the bottom would be 0 cups. We need to set up our bars. So we need to set up our days of the week. So we'll make this one Monday. We'll make this one Tuesday. We'll make this one Wednesday. I'm going to run out of space, but that's okay. I'll move the Mondays over. So we'll let this one be Monday. Dang it, I didn't do that one right either. I'm going to skip a space. And that means our last chunk at the end will be Friday. So we need, Monday was 30 cups. So I'm going to set up a little rectangle right here. And I'm going to shade it in for 30 cups. Tuesday was 20. So we will make the Tuesday rectangle go up to 20. Wednesday was 15. That was our smallest day. 15 would be right here. Thursday was our big one. That one was 40. And if you don't have graph paper to do this on, don't sweat it. Do the best you can with what you've got. These don't have to look like we're going to hang them in the Smithsonian. That is not the purpose. Friday, we had 25. So we'll fill this one in. So there's our bar graph. As you can see, it makes it really easy to see what's going on. You can still tell which one is the largest and which is the smallest. It's very, very easy to count. Every line has the same scale. So each little set of blocks right here stands for 5 cups. That part is super easy. Let's go and talk about some of the things that we included here for our bar graph. So we made our bars vertical. We made them go up and down. We could have made them horizontal. You get to choose. The thing you have to make sure they are is the same width. We want things to be nice and neat. We don't want to mislead anyone, so we want them to be the same width. And then the height of the bar represents the number of things in each category. So there's your bar graph. They're the things you need to know. We have this one labeled very clearly. It starts at 0 and goes up to 40. Each increment is the same amount. Our bars are evenly spaced and they're exactly the same width. We have both of our axes labeled. We have the independent axis labeled with the days of the week. We have our dependent axis labeled with the number of cups that we have sold, and we have a title at the top letting everyone know as soon as they look at it what they're looking at.